Good evening, my dear friends. I welcome you all to the Hindu and the Businessline editorial analysis on July 13th, 2022. The Wimbledon finals have seen Djokovic, the brave Serb, winning yet another title, the Wimbledon title and the 21st Grand Slam title. He has won the 7th Wimbledon title, only to equal Pete Sampras in the number of Wimbledon titles. Then in the women's finals, Elena has won against Ons of Tunisia, barring the rules of the Wimbledon, which stated that Russians were barred. Elena was born in Russia, however, then shifted to Kazakhstan, and she has won against the Tunisia's the only Arab African woman to clinch a Wimbledon title, the runner-up of the Wimbledon title this year. Helena has defeated two Wimbledon majors champions and top seeded world second in the women's singles. The Serb Djokovic was prevented from playing Australian Open because of his COVID restrictions, and then in the semi-final at Roland Garros in French Open, he was defeated in the semi-finals, in the quarter-finals. This year, he has won the Wimbledon title, the first title of the Grand Slam titles for him this year. And he has won against Nick and has clinched his very positive title in this Wimbledon. Although the Wimbledon has been his favorite, he has been looking for the 21st title of the Grand Slam, only to be behind Rafael Nadal, who exited the Wimbledon due to some injury and was defeated in the semi-finals by Nick Kyrgios, who was defeated by Djokovic in the Wimbledon finals. Nick Kyrgios was the very much difficult opponent for Djokovic. However, he managed to win, although he has been placed in the 7th position now in the World Championships. However, this Serb has bravely fought, and it's a very good, encouraging fitting reply to the Australian and the French Open defeats. And for Elena, it's a very remarkable achievement. Then coming to the information technology restrictions, the Twitter were pressurized by the Union government to the Information and Technology Ministry to remove around 1,400 accounts and 175 tweets. However, Twitter has moved the Karnataka High Court, citing that the handles, the 39 URLs, were nothing of a sort to be removed, because it contained, if you look at it, if you inspect it, it contained only some social dissent messages, for example, related to the farm laws. Twitter has been under the scanner for government for its platform where farm laws agitators were thronging. This is a kind of dissent, which is the freedom of speech in the democracy. Twitter has moved the Karnataka High Court, citing freedom of expression as promised by the Constitution. One of the major points cited by Twitter is that why the platform alone the intermediary, Twitter is an intermediary, alone is called upon by the central government. Why the author of the Twitter account or the tweet is not called upon? Section 69A of the Information Technology Act, which cites that the center can interfere when the integrity and sovereignty of the country, the security of the state, and the public order is threatened. The Supreme Court had upheld its order on the basis of the rules where the author of the message or the author of the post would be called upon to questioning. However, citing this rule, the central government has not called upon the author of the dissent and just made Twitter responsible, the intermediary responsible for it, which is what is challenged. Central government has recently passed the Information Technology Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code 2021, which cites that the ethical bent of the media to look at the social media, to look at the contents on its websites will be necessary. However, with the mushrooming of social media platforms, central government is what it's aiming is just submerging the dissent, just suppressing the dissent. Then the Prime Minister's announcement of 10 lakhs jobs in the government sector is introspective. There are around 8.7 million jobs are vacant in government. If you take into consideration the universities, the colleges, the defense sector, the railways, it will come to around 30 million jobs. There are informal sectors where people are working for the government. For example, Anganwadis, the accredited social health workers, that is ASHA workers, and many contract workers. The contract workers now total around 13 million people in India. So, these people's woes have to be addressed. The Center for Monitoring on Indian Economy has estimated that around 40 million jobs is the labor force in India, out of which 42% is being filled and 20% unemployment still exists in India. 30 million jobs are vacant, and every year 50 to 70 million jobs are unemployment is being added. The government has to take this seriously. Just filling 10 million jobs is not enough. It is estimated that government departments are running only 1/5 of the total labor force required to run the government, and therefore what happens is that the red tapeism, corruption and delay in services happens. What government has to do is that it has to develop jobs by finding new areas in social areas where the sanitation, the employment in certain services sector have to be improved. Moving on to the business line, we have the Delhi Motor Vehicles Aggregator Scheme, which is proposed. It aims to transfer the large aggregators. Aggregator is a person who is supplying vehicles for use by common people. For example, Ola is an example. He is an aggregator. The scheme is aimed, Delhi Motor Vehicles Aggregator Scheme is aimed at those aggregators who are having 25 and above vehicles. They move to the electronic vehicle sector. This will reduce around 76 million tons of carbon dioxide emissions and will reduce around 10 billion of fossil fuels consumption every year. So, this is a very environmental friendly move by the Delhi government. The electronic vehicle segment is now at 1.7 lakhs million 1.7 lakhs in Delhi. Uttar Pradesh tops the list. So, the scheme announced by the government does not take into consideration the safety regulations and the maintenance and then charging aspects of the vehicles and the maintenance and the places where the replacement of the batteries. This has not been given thrust into. The recent burnings, the recent fires in electrical vehicles show that the present system of using the batteries should be replaced with some more safer batteries. So, the next one is about how the Russian war in Ukraine is holding and rescuing the euro. The euro is now at 1.6 times of the dollar and it is going down. Recently, the Dutch bank has cited that it is going to buy 1 euro for 95 US cents, that is below a dollar. However, the political economy in the US is going for the midterm elections and there will be increased spending and expenditure, public expenditure announcements. So, it is expected that the US will spend much and the inflation will rise in the USA. With the inflation rise, there will be the dollar's value coming down. When the euro started as a universal currency in Europe, it was predicted that the euro would go down in the gradual phase. However, till 2007 and 8, when the European debt crisis choked the countries like Greece, there was some move on the part of Greece to move out of euro. However, the euro has again stabilized itself against the dollar and it's being just promoted as the universal currency in the Europe. And the recent Ukraine war has given euro some legitimacy to stand in the fray for the most used currency in Europe. No talk of scheming out the euro is being done now. Therefore, the euro is here to stay. The euro has to wait for US midterm elections so that the euro's value regains amidst US inflation. Friends, I have come to the conclusion of today's analysis of the Hindu and the Businessline editorials. I will come tomorrow with some more analysis on these newer topics and aspects. With that, I take bid adieu for today. Meet you tomorrow. Take care. Good night.